We're going to hear about AI Ops' instrumental role for next generation customer experience. And I'm delighted to introduce our first speakers for this session. Yessi Yosetia, the Chief Strategic Transformation IT Officer of PTXL Axiata, and Samit Banerjee, the Divisional President of Amdocs Cloud Operations. Welcome. Come and join me. And thank you. We love the enthusiasm. Let's keep it up for the for the day. Wow, so you heard from, Michael and myself there, we really talk a lot about, AI, and it's been a big theme of the work that we've got here. Yessi, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. What does AI Ops actually mean to you? Because I think we talked before and said it means many different things.
All right, okay. So before I start, let me just introduce what XL Axiata is. So XL Axiata is a telco company in Indonesia. We've got around 57 million subscribers. And we've just embarking our third transformation. And in this transformation, what we are saying is that, okay, we need to have the highest NPS, and that is the one that is driving the customer experience. Now, the business problem to solve is that we need to create a very intentional customer experience. And that means there is a need to change the way that we measure customer journey. So previously, we have been looking at operations by boxes.
Yep.
So how much is the success rate per each boxes, but that doesn't mean that we know the customer journey or customer experience is addressed. So the challenge that I give to our technology partner is that, okay, then how we are changing the way we look at operations from customer lens. And in order for us to do that, we need technology. And this is where AI comes in, because if we are doing stuff still using the old way of doing things, we won't be able to achieve what we're trying to solve here.
Absolutely, and it's about looking at what the new problems are. I mean, Samit, for you, how can Amdocs and how can you really help operators drive those new ways of working? And that's so important because AI Ops is a whole different way of looking at your operations.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, it's a mindset, okay, that things can be done automatically. I think, as Michael was saying, that there's sometimes a feeling that once you get into AI Ops, as if human being is not needed, as if you do not need any more people in operations. So first, it's a change of mindset that we can deliver things by utilizing AI Ops, by utilizing machine learning, by utilizing these capabilities and taking things to a level whereby it is no more IT-related KPIs, but it is business-related KPIs that we want to meet. So for Yessi, what is important is how she is serving the business of XL across Indonesia, which is for more than 70 million subscribers at the end of the day. For us, it's important that we are enabling that aspect of it by utilizing AI and ML in a way such that it can be transferred to business KPIs. That's important for us.
And Yessi, what was that mindset shift like for you guys, at Axiata? Because we often think about KPIs, in technology terms, and we look at, how many API calls we've had, all these types of things. But, was that a different mind shift to also get the technology team to see these are actually business KPIs, and we're driving business growth and value?
That is a very pointed question, Aaron. I think I actually have a slide, just one slide, to actually show how we change the way we look at things. And this is basically a dashboard that is seen by our operations. So before, you're looking at all the acronyms, right? The OCS, RPL, CM, and so on and so forth, in terms of success rate, latency, and so on and so forth. But in here, what we are showing now in the dashboard is really a particular journey. So in here, so for example, how to activate SIM card from customer perspective. And when we measure success rate, it is the success rate of activating the SIM card. It doesn't matter about which boxes that contribute to that. So in that, we need the ability to do correlation. And that is where the machine learning and AI comes in, because without that capability, we won't be able to correlate and create the journey. So this is, I think, the dashboard that we are now seeing as a mindset shift for our operations. I have actually two examples, so the first one is that I think this is also something that probably resonates with a lot of telco in the room. Because 99% of our base is actually prepaid, and a lot of them forget to reload and get the card expired. And before we start looking at the customer journey, when the customer complain and saying that, okay, their card is expired, before the recycle number kicks in, they can actually reactivate it. Before it takes for us like 8 hours to solve a particular subscriber, and they won't wait. They will just look at other operators to get it, and changing number is very easy for prepaid market like us. So with AI ops, now from 8 hours of resolution time, we can actually solve it within a minute.
Wow.
So that's actually a massive change when we are moving from looking at things from boxes to customer journey.
That's a huge change. I mean, really, Sami, how do you drive that change? Because that's a big thing, right? Down into minutes. So is the tooling important to realize that? I mean, again, there's a skills gap culture. How do you address that with the work that you're doing?
What we are doing right now is we have created a platform, which we call an Amdocs cloud management platform. And we treat operations like a product. It's no more like putting people and running systems. It's more like a product. So what we do is right from the product development that we are doing, which we are implementing, we bring in operations and plug both of them together. And in that, we bring in aspects, let's say, if it is monitoring. So we will have a single pane of glass where you can see everything together, and then you start to detect the anomalies. And the machine language starts to read that. And you feed that AI engine to start to take actions on that. So the actionable intelligence is picked up, and then you start working on it. Now, it takes a little more time, depending on what are the different ways in which you should perform the actions, but you can start to apply it, whether it is on incidents that are coming in from the customers, or whether it is all the multitude of boxes that are being implemented in the ecosystem, the IT ecosystem, and you know that too many people are needed, too many decision points are needed. You don't need it. You can put all of that into the system and let the system start to learn on its own, and it will take actions. You can put auto healing in place. So it will start to take actions even on the infrastructure side of the house, as well as all the multiple systems that are talking to each other. What actions do they need to take? So you have to treat it like a product. You don't have to treat it like an operation. And you can take each one of the sections, like whether it is observability, whether it is monitoring, whether it is infrastructure assessment, whether it is cloud management, all of these areas you can start to implement the AI ML component of it. By the way, this platform also works not only for the on-premise applications, it is also working for the cloud applications and in a hybrid environment as well. So it could be multiple clouds, on-premise, all together.
I mean, Michael, that's interesting, isn't it? If we think about, operations as a product, I don't think we've really heard that before.
A little bit of poetic license here. We know we've got SaaS and we've had infrastructure as a service. We've got looking at networks as a service. I'm hearing we're going to have operations as a service now. So you can take it a little bit further. But I think the consumption of services through AI is going to become more and more important to actually get that customer experience to move to the customer journey, as Jesse's pointed out.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that we often get asked, and please, if anyone has any questions, do raise your hand, and Stephen will look and go next. That's the best way for me to look at this. But how do you measure results? This is the thing I think I get asked every time, with CSPs. Can we start?
All right. Okay, so I've got another slide for this. So for every, I would call it like innovations or initiative that we're doing, we need to have a metrics or what success look like. And when we are seeing from customer experience lens, we can actually measure it from different perspectives. First is that customer lifetime value, so they are not churning. And then in terms of the man operation themselves, right? Because if we were to do this and we need to dimension number of person that is doing this, it's going to be very very different. So with automation, then there are some numbers here that is showing things are resolved quicker. So that means in terms of operations, number of resource is not does not require that many. Number two, then we can also looking at it from customer lifetime value, which is improving the revenue as well. So I think, yeah, there are numbers.
Some impressive results there. 3% revenue growth, 2% EBIT growth. 73% of end user tickets resolved automatically.
Correct, because now with machine learning and AI, when a ticket comes up, it will actually go through that learning process and apply the next action that needs to be done for that subscriber.
Yeah, and some, it's very interesting because this is like service assurance use cases, and that's where I see the biggest, opportunity at the moment for AI ops. Are you seeing the same thing, with Amdocs? Are people coming to you saying start with service assurance? Because people say, Aaron, where do we get started?
Yeah, no, it's for sure the service assurance. As I mentioned before, that operators and CIOs of the operators, they are always looking at the business KPIs. So business is in terms of services. Okay, what kind of services we are delivering? And you can look at these numbers that we are talking of over here, which we are not measuring for ourselves. We are measuring it for our customers. So if Yesi is defining that these would be the KPIs that we want to target, show us how you are going to get there. So our technology stack that we are talking of over here, the operations as a product or as a service, we need to tune that with those business KPIs.
But Summit has another KPI, right? So if he's not meeting that, I'm actually giving him penalty and service credit, right? So
Right.
But that's a partnership, right?
Right, but that's a partnership.
And how is that changing? I mean, is it going to be things like this, that there are these types of penalties and really driving both of you to get the better results?
Right. No, but that's always good because you need to have a carrot and a stick.
Yeah.
So you need to have both of them. And I think it works in
I
our
never
favor.
give you carrot.
Well, I do get that.
Do we have any questions from the audience? We have one there. Thank you very much. Hold on, the microphone's coming. We can't hear you all the way through here. Please say your name and what company you're from as well.
My name is Yaniv. I'm from Netcracker. My question is to Summit. You talk about AI not replacing labor, but still, can you give an indication by percentage-wise how much labor you're able to save when you apply those products that Amdocs described in terms of the cost of providing the service to, in this case, Axiata?
Yeah. So what I first meant by AI not replacing labor, it means that we are not making, we're not getting into a scenario where people are losing their jobs. It's just that people need to create more products, more solutions related to AI and ML because the field is very, very wide. So you can still have work. It's like in the old days of 70s when people thought computers are going to come and take my job away. That didn't happen for that matter. As far as replacement of the real labor is concerned, there are different use cases that we have, but it ranges anywhere between 30 to 40% in the initial stages, and it can go up to 50 to 70% in the later maturity stages.
Great. Do we have any other questions? One over here. Thank you.
Michael Maraval from Orange. I just would like to know how you actually measured that what you've improved at operation level did improve also your revenue growth and EBIT growth across other, let's say, initiatives like from the business. How have you been able to prove that?
Oh, okay. So before we embark to the initiative, we sort of need to understand first, right? Okay, so this is the business problem. There must be benefit out of this. I mentioned a couple related to operations using AI. One is resource. That means that the direct cost either flat or actually going down. Number two is customer lifetime value. Because with the market like us, where the churn rate is fairly high, so if we can actually keep them longer by giving them a exceptional service, then there is a dollar counting behind that initiative as well.
And one thing, I want to ask you about this and just following on, what about trust? I mean, Michael, you worked in security as well for a long time. Did it make you nervous with AI ops and trust?
Look, absolutely. We've got to make sure we've got the right wrappers in place with whatever we do, because at the end of the day, whatever we do in this new world, security is paramount. We really need to make sure that wrapper is there. So we've got to do all these good things, and we tend to talk about the things we're going to do, but at the back of your mind, you've always got to make sure you've got to have a security wrapper around it. So it is paramount, and it is really important because, you know, the bad people out there are always trying to break in and take the good people's value away. So we've got to put the right security wrapper around all this stuff. Otherwise, the trust factor's not there. And if the trust factor's not there, people won't buy into it.
Absolutely. So, you know, if we can come back to you, Summit, you know, thinking of that, when you're starting to work with operators on this, you know, is that reluctancy, is that worry about trust? You know, can we really hand over our operations, which is crucial to their business, to something like AI Ops?
True. See, that's why you need to go through it like a journey. So you don't switch it off all of a sudden on one day. You have to see how the system is maturing. You need to see the use cases developing. You start to look at the data, and you also go back and manually check in the initial stages of the implementation that whether this is really giving the right results or not. So yes, we are talking about the anomalies that are getting detected in the system, and the AI system is taking action on that. You validate. And only when you run through a proper set of validations, you say, you know what, now I can start to rely on it, and now I can trust it. But you don't leave it over there as well. You have to come back once in a while, within a month, to see whether that's performing exactly like the way you thought it or not. So this allows you to create more trust in the system, number one. Number two, it also gives you a lot more inputs to decide, going forward, where else you want to apply the AI. So that also starts to trigger the thought process. And that's where we have the AI or the ML-related scientists, the data scientists, they can take actions. So they can understand the system, how it is behaving, and where all we can put it in place.
That's actually a key, what Samit is saying, right? So he is actually distinguishing between operations using AI and AI ops itself. So when I'm posing the business challenge to Summit, so what I have in mind is actually operations using AI. But when he starts to embed AI in operations, then he needs to start thinking AI ops.
Yeah.
Because whatever changes or whatever data source that is coming in as a new set of data, he needs to retune the AI algorithm to make sure that we can actually get the result as we expected in the original design.
Yeah, I mean, these are really, really impressive results, and this is the carrot, but we can't give Summit all the carrot. We need to hit him with the stick again, right? So I think the big thing that people want to learn, what didn't go right? What have you learned together on this journey? Because, you know, it's not easy doing AI operations, and I think everyone is aware of that. So what's your biggest learning and takeaway?
So that cycle of monitoring, right? Because that is crucial. We didn't get this right at first time. I think this is a journey. Right now, it's probably already well-oiled run more than 12 months. But in the beginning, right? So we need a frequent iteration to make sure that it's running. Because at first, you might actually want to design like 1 minute resolution. It might actually not go well, right?
I mean, the initial cases where you would expect something like what Yossi mentioned, 8 hours it used to take, or 2 hours it used to take, and you are expecting results of that to come down, you will not get to that 1 minute resolution in one day. It's going to take time, number one. Number two, there is also an expectation setting that happens. Like when we are going to cloud, there is a first expectation, you know what, my cost will reduce dramatically. When we are going to 5G, you know what, I'm expecting fabulous use cases that will come up. It doesn't happen immediately. So there is always that expectation management which needs to take place to know that what's the real time that you're going to take before you can start to see the results. And yes, these are the ultimate results that I'm wanting to see. Because as Yessi is always challenging us, which is very important, because only when she keeps challenging us, we'll keep finding the answers for the next and the next and the next. So there is a journey in the whole process.
I think, Yessi, this stick keeps coming out. I hear it keep challenging, but this is important with AI ops when we think about what it is we're going to achieve. And I think managing expectation is critical as we do that. So yes, you've achieved great things, 3%, revenue growth, 2% EBIT, and so that 73% tickets resolved automatically. So then I'm going to ask you about the future, and where we're going to, push forward and push Amdocs forward. What do you want to achieve? What does the future look like for you in the next 2 years with AI Ops?
So I think to the operation team, what I have been asking them, okay, give me zero-touch operation, give me an unmanned operations, right? So it might actually be far-fetched right now, but I believe with the advancement of technology, we can actually have a very light touch operations, right? So it's
Back to this product
automatically.
again. Yeah, back to this product. Samit, for you, what does the future look like for Amdocs in AI Ops? Is it something you're committed to?
Yeah, I mean, I know that it is a big challenge when we have this expectation, but it is not only for ASE, it's even for us. We would also like to get to a stage where it is zero-touch operations, ZTO. That's already a term that is starting to float around in the industry, as you know. But even if it is not zero-touch, it is minimal touch kind of an operation, light touch kind of an operation. So we will have to get there. And
expectation
already.
I'm managing expectations, right? So we would probably like to get there. And maybe it will be like those Boeing 787s, where you do not need the pilot to do anything because the machine can run on its own, but you need to have the two pilots just to keep a watch whether things are working or not. So maybe that's the future that we are aiming for.
No, absolutely, and that becomes really important, managing it at scale. What are those processes and protocols are to do? And I'm sure if anybody wants to hear more about this, I know Amdocs have got a stand. You can go and visit. And Yessi, I know you're going to be around, and I've got plenty to say on this topic. It's been my absolute pleasure to have you both here. Samit, thank you very much. Yessi, thanks for your participation.
Thank you very
Round
much.
of applause, please. Thank you.